Yes.
How could the German community have been so brainwashed? I wonder how could that have happened? But before my very eyes, Keenan, I feel our communities are being brainwashed, and it goes back to something we said on the other video. We were talking about Black Lives Matter,
Yes.
and we were talking about everyone wants says Black Lives Matter.
Hmm.
I believe that anyone that says that it doesn't matter, that's a racist.
Right.
However, I believe the whole movement has been hijacked.
Yes.
And and I asked you on the show, tell me why you feel the movement has been hijacked. What has it been hijacked by? And what's your proof? And you said just go to their website and you'll know. But there's people that won't go to the website. You tell me.
So what we have to understand, there is a principle. There are two principles that we have to look at. One is called critical race theory, which is an epistemic philosophy about race, prejudice, power, privilege, right? And these are philosophies that are being uh, really pushed in secular schools, right? Indoctrinating people really to believe that they are inherently inferior or someone else is inherently
Mhm.
superior. And then there's the issue of Marxism, okay? So when you look at Black Lives Matter, when you look at the ideology of Black Lives Matter, not the moniker, not the statement Black Lives Matter, and like you said before, we have to get beyond the statement and look at the deep rooted philosophy behind it. And what you'll come to understand is this is a movement that is against traditional Christian values. They're against the nuclear family. They're against traditional marriage. They're against gender roles. They're against age roles. These are things that are not only biblical foundations, Sid, these are American foundations, and these are foundations within the black community. And the average black person doesn't realize that the very movement they're aligning with is undermining their history and their future and is an existential threat to the black community. Because if you take away the church from the black community, the same church that was a huge part of our freedom in terms of civil rights, it was the black church. Dr. King and these were pastors, these were ministers. So when you begin to demoralize the black church, demean the black church, demean the black family, demean the role of men, right? God says that the head of every woman is the man, and the head of the man is Christ, right? 1 Corinthians 11. What you're doing, you're attacking the very fabric of the black community. And these are the very things that are destroying the black community. Fatherlessness, right? The fact that many black women are not getting married, right? The fact that there are non-traditional families with two mothers and two fathers where there can be no procreation. These are the things. The BLM movement is pro-choice, or let me put it another way, pro-abortion, a movement which is sacrificing our black babies on the altar of Baal, which is depopulating the black community by 25%, which is the leading cause of death amongst any factor, heart disease, diabetes, stroke, any chronic illness. Abortion is the leading cause of death in the black community. And the issue is if Black Lives Matter really had an interest in the black community, they would go in and address the issues that are detrimental to our community. Like
How about black and on black murders?
that's an issue too. But see, here's the thing you have to
But why
understand.
is that not an issue of Black Lives Matter? You mean that black on black, it doesn't matter if you kill each other?
Well, you see, you have to understand that's not their agenda, Sid. Their agenda is to disintegrate the black family. Their agenda is to push the LGBTQ agenda in the black community.
Mm.
I've said it many times before. What's going to happen is that you're not even going to hear about Black Lives Matter anymore. They're not going to use it. They're going to say trans lives matter. They're going to say this lives matter. And it's going to go further and further away from the original agenda. And that's why you haven't even heard much about George Floyd. We don't even hear much about him anymore today, because that's not the real issue that they are propagating. And again, I want to say that this is so important for me to say this. Black lives do matter, and we should align ourselves biblically for the cause of any group of people who are oppressed, disadvantaged, downtrodden, afflicted, the poor, the widow, the fatherless. But that is different. That is a very different thing from the ideology, the anti-Christian, anti-Christ ideology of the movement Black Lives Matter, which I believe is an existential threat to the Black community.